Welcome to The Explainer. So what if that relentless drive for greatness, what if it isn't a virtue at all? Today we're diving into a dark, kind of poetic philosophy that says it's actually a symptom of something else entirely, a deep, universal exhaustion.
All right, let's set the scene. We're in a city that sounds more like an ending than a beginning. It's called the Sleeping Well. You can just imagine it, right? The air is thick with the smell of spilled wine that's turned to vinegar. And in the middle of all this decay, there's this wild, frenzied ritual kicking off.
And right at the center of it all, you've got this guy draped in ivy, just screaming at the moon. He's yelling things like, "I am the flame that consumes itself." He sees himself as this Faustian figure, someone who'd make a deal for ultimate power, trying to become this transcendent Ubermensch through just sheer ecstatic madness. But then, everything changes. A new figure steps out of the shadows, the Soothsayer. And it's like wherever his shadow touches, all that manic energy just dies. A kind of icy stillness starts to spread, a total challenge to the chaos of the dance. So now we get to the Soothsayer's Rebuke. And believe me, he doesn't just stop the party. He's here to tear down the dancer's entire philosophy, one brutal piece at a time. And wow, this quote just hits right at the heart of it. The Soothsayer basically says all this grand Faustian ambition. It's not some noble quest. It's really just cosmic laziness, It's a desperate, destructive act from someone who's just too tired to do the simple, boring work of actually living. So you've got these two totally opposite views, right? On one side, the dancer thinks he's reaching some kind of divine, ecstatic state. But the Soothsayer? He just sees a guy trying to escape the boredom, the quiet exhaustion of a silent afternoon. Of course, the dancer isn't going to take that lying down. He pushes back. He doubles down. He claims he is life itself, in its rawest form. The holy yes that says yes to absolutely everything. And the Soothsayer's comeback is just devastating. Absolutely brutal. He doesn't just disagree, he completely flips it. He says that so-called life force is nothing. It's just the meaningless garbage spewed out from an empty void. So where is all this frantic striving actually going? Well, according to the Soothsayer, it's not up to the heavens. It's a one-way ticket down the path of collapse. He actually calls it a metamorphosis in reverse. It's like you start as the child, full of potential, right? But then you realize the game is rigged, so you become the cynical, stillborn child. Next, you're the revolutionary lion, roaring for freedom, only to find out freedom is just another cage. And where do you end up? As the broken camel, carrying nothing noble, just the crushing heavy weight of your own tiredness. And the final stop on this trip? It's not some heroic Ubermensch, no way. It's this figure. The last man. And he's kind of a pathetic creature, really. Someone who's totally given up, who only wants tiny little pleasures, and always asks, what's the easiest way? It's the ultimate surrender to being tired. And here's the kicker. The Soothsayer says this isn't just about our dancer friend. Nope. This is a universal problem, a sickness of striving that drives all of us. He even gives it a name, the long tiredness. Think of it as a deep, profound exhaustion with the whole game of life. All that hustle, all that ambition, it's just a loud mask you wear to hide the fact that, deep down, you're just weary. This completely flips one of philosophy's biggest ideas on its head, that famous will to power. The Soothsayer says it's really the will to distraction. It's like you're on a treadmill running as fast as you can because you're terrified that if you ever stop, you'll have to stare into that silent, empty darkness. So let's break it down. You have the dancer's lie, which is all shiny and appealing. Striving makes you a Superman, frenzy is freedom. And then you have the Soothsayer's cold, gray truth. Striving leads to collapse. The end goal is the pathetic last man. And all that frenzy, it's just exhaustion in a party dress. So, if striving is the sickness, what's the cure? Where does all this lead? Well, the Soothsayer's conclusion is pretty bleak, but also kind of peaceful. He calls it the happiness of the grave. That whole path of intoxication, that Dionysian frenzy, named after the Greek god of wine and partying, he says it's not a celebration of life at all. It's just the express lane to the only real peace you're ever going to find, the perfect, quiet stillness of the grave. And at this point, he just rips away every last illusion. The music, it means nothing. The well you're drinking from, it's dry. That dance, It was just a chore. The cup is empty, and the dancer is just a ghost.
But here's the twist. The Soothsayer offers a new kind of intoxication. It's not about frantically trying to fill the void. It's about that crystal clear, sober moment when you realize the cup has always been empty. That's where the real release is, in just accepting the nothingness.
Then what happens to the dancer? He just stops. All that frenzied energy just evaporates. He slumps into the mud and his struggle is finally over. And for the very first time, he's not looking for ecstasy, he's not looking for motion, he's just grateful for the stillness, for the quiet. And that leaves us with the philosophy's final, really haunting question. It's a challenge to the very idea of ambition. Why burn yourself out reaching for the stars, when maybe they're just cold holes in a black shroud?